I think it's happening. I'm going to say we're live. Wasn't quite as much ramp up as we usually get when Corbin is VJing, but here we are. It is November 2021. This is the town hall for Concrete CMS. I'm Franz. This is Andy on some side of me. It is a fun-filled morning for me. This is going to be a little fast and loose. We've got a delivery happening at the same time as town hall. We've got a bunch of cool videos to show, and I am both VJing and talking. So, woo, multitasking. Let's quickly get into the news. 9.0.0 was released. 8.5.6 was also released, but the big one's 9.0.0 was released. So, man.
Yeah, long time in development. Whew.
Years in coming.
Yeah.
And, super exciting. Yeah. So, if you haven't read the blog post, you should, but every part of the interface has been touched. There's a brand new built-in theme. The file manager is rebuilt from the bottom up. Stacks have folders. There's a new theming engine called Bedrock. There's a new thing called containers that makes it easy to deal with atomic design elements. There's a thing called boards that lets you aggregate content in mysterious and exciting ways. I'm missing. There's multi-site. Like there's so much in here. It's literally years and years of work. I think we started 18.
No, it was even before that because there was some Verta stuff in there too that kind of branched off for that. So it's literally years. It's been in development for longer than it was not between 8 and now. It's crazy. So
feels great. This has been a year of kind of housekeeping and getting internal stuff out the door, relaunching the brand, relaunching our website, getting version 9 out the door. So we are pretty excited. That said, of course, it's not without some hiccups. All major .0 releases tend to be followed by a 0.01, which is coming very shortly, right, Andy?
Yes, that is coming very soon.
We've got a little bit of debate going in GitHub around a couple of issues, but once those get resolved, I think we're going to hit publish on that bad boy and get 9.0.1 out, which will have just a little smoother edges on some of the more developer stuff. Also, 8.5.7, I think, will come out at the same time. And then we will be hopefully on a little bit of a hiatus with core releases for at least a few weeks. No promises. We might have a 9.0.2, but hopefully we'll have some time to do something else. What else has happened since we talked last? We updated the community site, which involves actually updating like half a dozen websites at this point. So lots of little things, no huge major functionality, but lots of little cleanup stuff. Tooltips on the badges for the profiles, paging for your transaction history, documentation pages are more editable. The forum archive profile pop-ups have been fixed. Yada, yada, yada. So more stuff coming. We've been having internal debates around what is the best way to really use Discourse as a ticket management system for bugs and feature requests that people report with the community. We feel strongly it's important to be transparent with that stuff, but we also want a system where we can easily go back and be like, this one was resolved, or that one we're never going to touch. So I think we're going to be draping some features onto Discourse from their extensions to make that happen better. But nice to be able to pivot back since we, the initial launch and do some more cleanup. I expect more of that to happen on a continued basis. So keep reporting those issues and we'll keep dialing them in. Let's see, other stuff. There is, as we've been talking about, this cool hosting platform. I should have shown a video, but I don't have it in front of me. I got so many videos. Maybe I'll find one as we go on and be able to queue that up later. But we've got this cool hosting platform that is based on top of Kubernetes. It's deploying containers with concrete in them. You can deploy directly from Git. We've got a GitLab instance that will run for you. It is very cool, very modern, and a great way to run your site if you are trying to follow developer best practices. That said, we're using it. It's still very early days. We're on 1.0 of the interface, and we could use some more people testing on it, beating it up, saying, hey, this is great, but it could also do X, Y, and Z, and it'd be even better. So that's where we're at. If you've ever hosted a website we'd love to have your help. So simply go to the blog. You'll find a link there. You just go to the main Get Started page and find hosting. Those middle plans, the pro ones, if you fill that out, you're going to get a invite to our beta stuff. So could use more testers, and that means you. Additionally, if you're watching this, chances are you already are, or you should seriously consider being a services partner. So we have relaunched our partner program with the new website, and we've deprecated all the old different ones, and now we have services partners that are freelancers and shops that are providing services around concrete. We are in the business of hosting websites and providing service level agreements and support for clients that that kind of want that level of safety, security, and compliance. We do not design or build websites here. So we need your help. When someone says concrete looks great, I need someone to design and build a website. That's a services partner, and it's easy to become one. All you got to do is pass a certification test that doesn't even touch code. It's just saying, look, do you know your way around a concrete site? We need people who can help with basic support. Certification test is free. Being a partner is free. You get access to a private forum area. You get access to special marketing materials that we're working on. And we're actually going to be doing a partner Google Meet. So kind of like this, but a little bit less of us talking to you and a little bit more of everybody just talking to everybody else. Kind of bring back the idea of a conference, and that the synergy that you can feel at the lunch or the cocktail hour conference. So that's actually next week, and services partners are invited. So you should go to the footer of concretecms.com, look for partners, find the services partner form, fill that out, and Jess will help onboard you to there. That is the news. I didn't miss anything,
Nice.
Did I, Andy?
I don't think so.
It feels like that's a fair amount for a month. Yeah. All right. Let's do some quick shout outs to folks who have been particularly helpful in the last month. We've got code issues, which is cool. People who are reporting issues, and documentation. Do you want to run with this one, Andy?
Sure. I can definitely do that. Yeah. Thank you, everybody who helped get 9.0 specifically out the door. There's a lot of you, and that includes not just code, but also, reporting issues for the final release candidate, as well as issues that we're fixing for 9.0.1. That's super helpful because we can't catch everything, even in our rather lengthy release candidate phase. So thank you for pushing code. Thank you to BitterDev, Deek87, Hishi, Jaromir Dalaki, Katsuno, KZN-A, Martin Kauba, and M. Lokati. And then in the issues camp, there's a lot of you. Thank you to Abrex, Adrian-RT, African Forest, Bloody Iron, Data South, Heflamy, Hishi, HMONE23, Infomobi, Intromalist, Italinux, John the Fish, Catalysis, Karadz Lupuki, Levit, Linuxoid, Marcin Prisporka, Martin Cowby, Meatweb, Morier, Nick Radering, Nikolay Nikolajevich, Pukachu, ST0NEW, Tac Tac, Tamal 3053, Vidal, Wardish, Z Partikov. And thank you in the documentation camp. Sadly, much fewer names, but that's probably good for me. In the documentation camp, thank you to Lisa N and M. Nakalay. Thank you to everybody for helping get 9.0 out the door.
Thank you, everybody. That is fantastic, and thank you, Andy, for the epic journey through the handles that our community.
Oh yes,
that is an adventure every time. But it is awesome to be part of something that is bigger than us, and to know that we are building something together for the greater good. Very cool. As we do every month. There are karma points that people win in our online community through helping people and contributing and doing different things. And there is kind of a sense of who is really contributing. And we have started this special award we call the Golden Baton to acknowledge somebody who has gone to the highest mile and has really helped the concrete community achieve all that it is. So the way this works is the Golden Baton winner wins $250 in the marketplace so they can buy whatever add-ons they want. They win the Golden Baton badge. They win our eternal gratitude, which they probably already have in the first place. But they also win the right to hand it off to the next person. So it is a it doesn't come from us. It comes through the community to the community. So with no further ado, I am going to figure out how to queue up last month's winner. Maybe I'm going to remove us and put in Michele, who will announce this month's winner.
Ciao everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank Noor for passing me the golden baton. I am always impressed by Noor. It's really hard to find someone who is so professional and at the same time so willing to help others. Thank you again, Noor. Merci bien, mon ami. About passing on the golden baton. When our company had to choose a CMS, we analyzed many of the alternatives. Some offered a lot of features, but they were not very easy to use. Others were quite easy to be used, but didn't offer many features. And extending most of them was very difficult. Only Concrete was easy to use, full of features, with a clear and well-written code. That's why I always wondered why Concrete doesn't have a 100% market share. And that's why I'd like to pass the golden baton to Katz Wiener. There are many great developers out there that contribute to Concrete. Each of them would deserve the golden baton. But the contribution of Katz is so unique. The energy he transmits is so impressive. The community that he built around Concrete in Japan is so unique, vibrant, and extended. If we had more Michele in the world, Concrete will probably support even the Klingon language. But if there were more cats in the world, more people will know and use Concrete. Arigato, Katz.
Right, there we go. We're moving and we're back. Excellent choice.
Definitely agree with that.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better, Michele. Thank you, Katz. Here is the golden baton. Very cool. Thank you, and thank you to everybody for everything that you do. We really appreciate it. All right, what is next? Let's see. We are going to go into what has happened in the marketplace. Right now, there's a lot of work on getting everything version 9 ready. So a growing number of add-ons and themes are making the slight modifications that you need for the interface to behave, and some more complicated ones they're doing some updates and whatnot. But a lot of work's going into that. So for this month's PRB review, I think we've got one really nice looking theme to talk about, and then we're going to do like a breakdown of all the different attribute types that exist in the marketplace. So let me cue that up.
Our theme this month is Replica Shop by Zanweb. This is a development of their replica theme to integrate with Community Store. You can refer back to the news from July for a review of Replica, and here we'll just worry about the shop related features. So onto the demo site. First, there's a product list slider block. Here it's used as a full width hero slider, and if I scroll down we have a product list block with a feature list template, and another product list block, this time with a more regular thumbnail and info template. If I click on one of these, we have a neat little details pop over, and I'll now go to a product page where we have a product block and this hover zoom effect for the product block. Replica Shop is $65 in the marketplace. Well, that's the end of the new releases, so on to our roundup of attribute types. And so we're on to our review of attributes. Attributes are items of supplementary data you can attach to things like pages, users, files, all sorts of things. in concrete. There are a bunch of attribute types already built into the core, and what we're looking at here are more that are available from the marketplace and GitHub. Most of the attribute types will show you are free. To demonstrate, I've set up some test pages, and these already have attributes added and attached to the pages. First, we have file set attribute from Web Instinct. This, if we go to the attribute dialog, is a simple select to pick a file set from the file manager. So I'll pick file set number 1 and save that, and that will attach the attributes with a pointer to that file set to the page. On the page, I've used my Omni Gallery block simply to show the thumbnails from the file set. You need something that's sort of attribute aware to show attributes on a page. As they say on TV, other attribute aware blocks are available. Now onto the multiple files attribute from GaiAsU. This is a file picker attribute. Here I have it attached to the page, and I've picked 3 files from the file manager in the attribute. I'm going to add another one to it. That's the sunset, and I can shuffle the order, and I could remove files from the attribute as well. If I save that, we will see those 4 files displayed in my test gallery on the page. Now we have a pair of attributes from Masuva. This is multi-file selector and multiple file selector. The first of these is for version 7, then multiple file selector works with version 8, and Masuva tells me is also working with version 9 now. Both of these are on GitHub, so you need to do a manual install if you want to use these. They're similar in capability. Attribute on the page, a couple of images that I've already added. If I choose an extra image or 2, I can add them in. So now we've got 4 images in the attribute. I can shuffle the order again. I could remove them from the list. If I save that, and again my test shows that there's the 4 attributes on the page. Our final attribute for files is multi-HTML file selector by Fabian Bitter. This works a bit differently. Rather than letting the user loose with the file manager, this presents a direct upload of files into the attribute. So I've got 3 files that I've currently uploaded, and I'm going to add another one to it. I'm going to pick that one from my system as an upload, and it's now uploaded it and thumbnailed it and hidden it away behind the scenes in the file manager, but the people using this attribute don't need to know about that. I'll save that, and we'll see the attribute dumped out onto the page. So there's the files that I've previously added to it. You've got to be a little bit careful about this, because there's no security attached to it like you would with File Manager directly in File Manager permissions. So you wouldn't want to let any untrusted user loose with this. Spammers could easily fill your server up. The marketplace price is $35. Well, that's it from me. So back to Noor, who'll be showing you some page and navigation and a couple of more esoteric attributes.
Thank you, John. So my first attribute is the page selector attribute by developer MN Keras. It's a free attribute. This is, as the name says, you can add it to a page or an Express form and use it to select a page. The idea with this add-on really is to build something on top of it. So a good example is another attribute called page redirect by the same developer that allows you to do just that. This one uses the other one to let you select a page to redirect to. So you add this attribute to a page, use the other attribute to select the second page, and then this one redirects page 1 to page 2. The redirect is a 301 redirect, so a permanent redirect, and those 2 attributes are totally free, and they've been along since Concrete 5.6. So they've been along for a while and, still working, still useful. Another one with the same functionality but many more possibilities is the package page child redirect by Ramon Linders. This one does the same. It lets you select a page to redirect to, but it lets you have much more dynamic way of doing it. You can select to redirect to the first child, the last child, the newest, the oldest one. You have several different options, parent page, extra, and you can decide to do a 301, so move permanently, or a 302 redirect, which is a temporary move only. It is $15, and it also comes in Dutch. Something a little more niche, but still can be useful, as you can see by the reviews, is the color picker attribute by a developer Web Instinct. As the name says, it lets you, select a color. So I'm actually using it on my own website in a demo for another package where you can select a color. This could be used for different things. You can, again, add it to a page, or you can add it to an Express form. So in a page, you can select it for, I don't know, your header's background color or anything like that. It's free, again, and works pretty well. And last but not least, this package is specifically for Italian users, Italian VAT and fiscal code, or Codice Fiscale, by developer M. Lucati. Very simply, this lets you add an attribute where the user will be able to enter their Italian VAT code or fiscal code, and the attribute will actually run a validation on it to make sure it's correct. So you can use it in Express form again, you can use it in member profile pages, stuff like that. That's an attribute that's totally free again, although specifically for Italian users, I'm sure it can be very useful. So as a closing word, please remember attribute types allow you to input data, but very often the functionality really is up to you. The good example is the attributes I showed you in the beginning, the page redirect, the page selector one. You select a page, but then what do you do with that? It's up to you to build something to use that input. The color picker attribute is also a good example. It's up to you to build something to use the value of the attribute. Just selecting the color itself probably won't do much. So very often attributes are a building block towards greater and more interesting things. And if you are a developer, some of those attributes, especially since most of them are free, are very good example that you can learn from, develop from, build your own attribute types. For instance, nothing stops you from using the Italian VAT package as an example to maybe build your own for the French VAT code, or German or whatever. So those are very good opportunities to learn. And that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Very cool. So,
nice.
Attributes are a huge part of what makes concrete such a flexible building material, and really help somebody start with something small and then have it grow over time. All right, show some value with a simple site, and then start adding more functionality to it as the boss starts to believe. So yeah, very cool demo. Let's see. Next up, we are launching, actually as an independent video. You'll find this one as its own standalone on YouTube, and we'll be posting them that way. And I would also urge you, as you're watching this, if you're thinking, man, I've got a project that I could show, maybe not quite this technical, but interesting in some way, please do, because this is a how we built it together video from Fabian. So let me add this one.
Hi everybody. When we first built Concrete CMS way back in the day, the fundamental promise we were trying to solve is to make it easy to manage your website. We were tired of going into a training session just to see a client's face overwhelmed with fear as they started taking notes and worrying about how they were going to actually add a press release. We started with the idea of in-context editing decades ago, and it's really cool to see the rest of the industry start building CMSs around the idea of that kind of word processor drag and drop experience today. All of that delivers an experience that's really easy for someone to use, but Concrete's also a really powerful framework to build with. As web developers, we wanted to have code that was easy to extend. We wanted to have core objects and data models that we could reuse across different projects. We wanted to be able to pick up somebody else's work and run with it without having to spend weeks figuring out which different modules had been used to accomplish goals and kind of how the thing worked. This new series that we're launching, How We Built It Together, is a series of examples of really cool projects that someone from the community has made building with Concrete that's more than just a small brochure site that you could make on a web builder, but something a little more complicated, something that takes that fundamental promise of, hey, this has to be easy for anyone to use, and adds to it, makes it more of an application or a complex intranet, extranet, something that is a little bit beefier than what you're going to pull off with many of our competitive, easy-to-use CMSs that are out there. So with no further ado, I want to introduce Fabian Bitter. He is a great Concrete developer who's been instrumental on the version 9 release and a lot of the community rebuild this year. We've done a lot of work and really enjoy working with him, and he's also been working on this very cool testing app for COVID. He's going to take you through kind of what the end experience is like, and then a little bit of how he built it and why Concrete was such a great choice to very quickly build out an important application like this. So without further ado, here's Fabian.
The Test Center app is an application made for testing centers to help testing people against the coronavirus. The application includes everything that is required to operate in testing center. Users can manage patients, manage tests, issue certificates, and much more. The application is available as a modern PWA web application, but is also available as a native app in the iOS App Store, Mac App Store, Windows Store, and on the Google Play Store. What you can see here is the application after logging in successfully. In the footer area you can see 3 buttons. The first one is to manage patients. The second one is to manage pending tests, and the third one is to manage the settings. There you can manage your employees, define your services, see statistics, and you can enable the booking portal integration. With the booking portal, patients can check in online in advance. Testing center operators can define their bookable services in the settings. Once they did, users can see the testing center in the booking portal and book their services online. Users can purchase the test online for free if they fulfill the requirements for a free test, or they can check out with PayPal or online bank transfer. Once they are finished, they receive a QR code which can be scanned from the app. The application is reading the QR code and creating a patient record based on the given data. Of course, patients can also come without online reservation to the testing center. After adding the patient record, the employee needs to take the swab, and 50 minutes later the patient will receive the test result by email. They will receive a PDF certificate that is built on the government template. But they will also receive a clickable link and a QR code to the Corona One app. This is the official app in Germany from the government. In this application, users can see the digital test result, and they can issue a EU-wide digital COVID certificate. This means users can use this certificate in the entire European Union. In case of a positive test result, the app is automatically sharing the data with the local health department, which is responsible for the patient. Like almost any web project, this project is split into two parts, the front end and the back end. To save development time and optimize the development workflow, we have written the front end in Vue. It is the same package that is used for all platforms. So for example, for the mobile application we have used Cordova and included our Vue frontend library. Same for the native desktop apps. There we have used Electron and just included a Vue frontend library. On top of Vue, we have used Onsen UI for the interface. This was saving much of development time too. But the most development time we could save is thanks to Concrete CMS. The entire backend and the API interface is built on top of Concrete CMS. Thanks to this wonderful system, we was able to generate a backend which is solid and powerful. As a bonus, we have hosted the project on Amazon AWS. We have a bunch of servers configured. For example, we have an application balancer and multiple EC2 instances that are handle the incoming request. Then we have a centralized RDS database server so that all instances have the same data available. To increase the performance, we have optimized the web server settings, used Memcached and Amazon services like Elasticache. Files are stored on S3 buckets and distributed through Amazon CloudFront network. And for real-time updates between multiple clients, we are using Mercure, which is also part of Concrete CMS version 9. Here was inspired by Andrew. Thanks to this infrastructure, we are able to satisfy a bunch of customers that are dealing with hundreds of records daily in real time. We have performed stress tests, and with our current infrastructure we are able to handle hundreds of testing centers. Sending emails is a major role in this application, so we was looking for a solid platform for mailing too. We have decided to use a dedicated SendGrid server, and till now we have an awesome delivery quote. We don't have any issues with spam, mail bounces, etc. For some parts of the application, I'm using my own add-ons that I have made for Concrete CMS in the past. For example, for the checkout functionality, the new Bitter Shop System version 2 is used, and for the integrated support system, I'm using my Simple Support System add-on. So the biggest role in this project was definitely Concrete CMS as a platform. We were taking use of so many features. First of all, we are dealing with all the integrated frameworks behind like Doctrine, Laravel, Symfony, but we are also relying on a lot of Concrete CMS services like the user management system, the sanitizer, the mailing service, the date formatting service, the included translation engines, the file systems that allows to have external file storage locations, the easy to use CRUD interface for the backend and much more. So thanks to the core team and all of the community contributors for this wonderful system. Cheers.
We're back. How do I get rid of that one? Boom. It's just us again. That's cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. Crazy. That is very impressive, Fabian.
Super impressive, Fabian. Also, knowing that like you've been doing stuff for us full time the whole while, so
he's busy.
He's very busy, and clearly you can build really cool stuff quickly with Concrete because that did not take a year to make. That was that happened whilst juggling other stuff. So bravo, and very cool. Let's see. So I believe we have made it to the Q&A section of our town hall. I think it's gonna be a pretty light one this week. I've got 2 Qs that I can have answers for. The first one is the new UI is too white. Please add more contrast or make it a dark theme. Sorry. What do I have for an answer for this? The old UI was too dark.
It's true.
Heard that when we launched it, felt it to be true as well. The new UI is ADA compliant. Like, you can, yes, it is on the lighter side. Yeah, you can still see what things are. It's not like it's faint gray on white. That baby blue for the icons for the blocks, you know, it's not going to be for everyone. I mean, the other thing I can tell you is everything's very extendable and customizable. We design concrete under the MIT license with the idea that, look, we're trying to make infrastructure for websites. You should be able to do what you want with it, as long as you don't try to get us in trouble. So we certainly know of many agencies that, or some agencies that pull the hand logo off, stick their logo in the corner, and call it their own CMS, and that's okay. So if you want to modify the way that the dashboard looks and feels, don't let us stop you, right, Andy?
Yeah, that's about what I would say. I know that there have been some secondary dashboard themes in the past. I would definitely argue against that, just because we kind of take the approach that we can and do change the underlying function, the way that the dashboard theme works at any time for different use cases. But certainly, you know, add-ons that add a secondary style sheet to change just the general colors and typography of the dashboard are pretty immune to us tinkering. So yeah, you know, it seems like an excellent opportunity for a third-party add-on. Yeah. You know, if the current color scheme is not to your liking.
Yeah, and I can't promise you that it won't gravitate back towards the middle. I mean, we certainly had a while where the panels were way too dark. Yeah, and so now, you know, perhaps it's a little light. So noted, acknowledged, probably not going to drop everything and change it again at the moment, but yeah, we'll see if that sidebar stays as washed out as it feels today. I definitely think that like the modal overlays and kind of the rest of the blue versus white that we have has got a stronger contrast to it than the ad block interface. So toss you a bone on that. Dark mode option, yeah, knock yourself out. Sounds great. I run my Gmail in dark mode. I run Slack in kind of like a nice burgundy. Sure. Nothing wrong with some configurable palettes for your dashboard experience, as long as Andy's saying, as long as it makes it so we can keep the thing behaving. Sounds great. Certainly not trying to dictate style. So there you go. The other question, what was it? Was how could I contribute to Concrete CMS? Well, that's a great question. I run Portland Labs, and we used to be a full service agency back in the aughts, and we built Concrete because we were tired of training clients on the other CMSs that we were using. So we started as a for-profit company, and you know we intend to remain that way. So I know some open source projects accept donations, and they're really more of a foundation and that type of thing. We're not. We are very much bought into the idea of open source and the promise of making the world a better place, and the importance of having a publishing platform that is free and ubiquitous. And you know, we don't want the web to turn into you know, the only way you get stuff for free is with ads, and a couple of big companies own it. So we are eager to always keep Concrete open source, but we're not going to turn into a nonprofit to make that happen. So I would say keep your hard-earned dollars and put them towards other good causes. There's many ways that you can help in the community, from just getting active in the forums and help people who are trying to figure out how to use Concrete. We could use a lot of help on the marketing side, or you know, the kind of refrain with Concrete is it's so good I don't know why everybody doesn't use it. Well, that's because we got to spread the word, and there's only so much that we can do from here, since we actively built and are promoting it. You know, everyone's like, yeah, rah, cool that you like it. It would be really helpful to have more articles comparing Concrete to other systems, and technical ones too. Like, there's a fair amount of just kind of like Concrete's cool, but like, hey, if I know how to do this in this platform, here's how I would do that in Concrete and why I might. That kind of long form content is really good for marketing. It's got like a long tail to it, and people will come to us. People come to us from articles that are like a decade old still. So anything that you can do to kind of share why you use Concrete with the rest of the world will help grow our market share, which means more clients, more add-ons and themes, more of rising tide lifting all the boats. You could put together some content around how we built it together. You just saw that video that we did from Fabian. That's a pretty impressive project, but we're looking for all sorts of projects, good looking websites. As I said in that intro, really anything that does something more than what you're just going to bang out with some, a little bit more than brochureware, and I will put the how we built it together label on it and do a little tour, and that gives you some promotion as well. Obviously, there's this thing called GitHub. If you want to help fixing bugs, and we would love help there. I know it can be kind of intimidating to start, but we actually have a labeling system in there that we've put some real work into trying to make very clear around what's actionable and what isn't. And it should be reasonably simple to find some low-level issues that you could tackle and start working on. If you sell your services around being a web shop, join us as a services partner. Having a growing services partner network is a stat that we are tracking in the business, and we need to see that number growing every month. So that's something that you can help with. What else am I? Oh, translation. There is an active community around people translating concrete to different languages. So if you go to our site and towards the right in the upper corner, there should be a translate link that'll get you to a completely standalone site that actually Michele has built that lets you translate strings into different languages. So if you speak more than one language, you can help with making sure that concrete works in multiple languages. If you get really into that, we could use more regional partners. So Katz, who Michele handed the golden baton to, runs Concrete Japan. We are in the process of having a regional partner start to translate the .org side, so concretecms.org, where we host just kind of a few pieces of key information, the downloads, a little bit of features, and we're going to be moving our security and core releases blog section to there. So we'd like to have that site translated to different languages. So if you're multilingual, you are smarter than we are, and we could really use your help. But I feel like that was pretty good. What am I missing, Andy?
I think that, probably the last big thing is just as much help with documentation as that we can get, whether it's writing, whether it's submitting content to the actual editor's guide. You don't have to be a developer to help improve the concrete documentation. There's an entire tree of content on documentation.concretecms.org that is just about using concrete. So if you use concrete to get work done, and you stumble into the documentation and realize, there's an entire new piece of, there's this entire new file manager, section that hasn't been updated since version 8, and it's all different in version 9. You have the ability to make those changes too, right through the CMS for those sites, and we would really, really appreciate assistance with all of that stuff. Of course, if you are a developer, you can submit documentation to the developer section as well, and tutorials. If you don't really want to work on the reference materials, and you're really thinking like, look, I just did this one particular thing to my site, and I really improved its search engine ranking in Google, and I'd love to share that information with people. Like, we have this entire tutorial section as well, where if you're not sure, if there's some piece of content that you'd like to submit to the concrete documentation section and you're not sure that it fits, I promise you that it does fit, and that it can go into the tutorial section. And these are all excellent ways, I think, to improve the documentation and help everyone in the community.
Absolutely. I would second that how-to tutorials section. Yeah. As you know, there are never too many ways to explain how to solve a problem. And concrete is a lot like Legos. There are a lot of ways you can put them together. And so, I've architected the system with Andy, and frequently I am in some part of the dashboard going, now wait a minute, do I do it? Actually, if I do this and I do that and I turn this away, I can actually make it do the other. So, I think there's just always going to be that discovery around problem solving, and those tutorials are a great way to do it. Last but definitely not least, in terms of how you can help grow concrete. Concrete has been built entirely on the back of large client projects. So for years and years, Andy and I would chase some huge problem and spend much of our time solving that. And often it would align with where we needed the core to go. And so I can actually map feature to feature. Like the original file manager is there through the graces of the great nation of Kuwait that had built a site with concrete but needed a better file manager. And like it goes that way, where a lot of the heavy lifting has happened because someone with deeper pockets than I needed to make it happen. We have now reached a spot where the CMS is fully featured and rather robust. And if anything, we need more documentation and less new features. And we know that. We really want to be focused on just being a product company. We don't want to be chasing that big gig that may take. I don't want to add marketing automation to concrete because someone's going to pay me to, but I will. You should want us to focus on that product stuff as well. And the way we're going to make that happen is to really push this beta hosting platform into something that everyone thinks is super compelling. Corvin has spent the better part of this year working on it and has done a tremendous job. It is, in terms of a framework, it is toe-to-toe with WP Engine, Pantheon, and these kind of larger cloud-based Kubernetes deployment platforms. Very cool from an engineering perspective to see what we can do with it. But we really need your help, kind of showing us, look, that's cool what you guys are doing for the Army, and that's great that the system does that, but here's how our workflow works. Here's the features that we need you to add to that. So this is a compelling hosting solution that we want to use. Our goal here is to get to a spot where you are looking at hosting with us and saying that is a better way to host a concrete site that is faster, safer, secure, and I can make money on it. And I'm going to give those guys my hosting business, not just because it helps support the project, but because it's the best way to host a concrete site. So if you want to help us succeed, we need your help beating this platform up so we can take it where it needs to go. Boom. I like that note. Unless somebody's telling me something super important, I think we're going to end it on that. Sound good to you, Andy?
To that sounds good to me.
Let me see if I can find the button to hang up. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next month. And broadcast.